left 4 Americans dead is now actually being identified as one of the phony scandals.
Whether it's about the attacks in Benghazi and the talking points, that attempts to turn this into a scandal have failed.
Really?
Yeah, so what does that mean for the investigation and the families still seeking justice? Fox News contributor Michelle Malkin joins us now. Hi, Michelle.
Hi there.
It sounds like what Carney was trying to say there was the talking points version component of Benghazi is the phony scandal. What do you say?
Yeah. Well, talking points, of course, means facts. It's the facts that are a problem for this administration. And so the answers that he gave to that question of which scandals he thought was phony are really the answers to the unwritten question, which scandals are causing the most damage to this administration? It's very telling that the 2 he chose, of course, were the bloody incompetence of Benghazi and the partisan abuse of power of the IRS. Phony baloney is the main dish that's served up there on the podium at Jay Carney's press briefings, and I think it's very transparent. One of the few things that's transparent, that this administration is desperate to change the subject from the very real scandals that are plaguing this administration.
Hey, Michelle, what is your take? This administration that took out al-Awlaki without telling us. He took out bin Laden. He tells us all the time. So he's very good with the drones, and they are very good at killing al-Qaeda guys. Here these guys killed on the president's watch 4 Americans, and there seems to be no interest in pursuing the killers. How do you figure this? The FBI doesn't even go over there for weeks, and you got news reporters interviewing suspects.
Yeah. Great questions, Brian. We need to hear them more at the press briefings. It's been more than 10 months since Obama stood before the American people and vowed, rather disingenuously, to make bringing the perpetrators of Benghazi to justice. And then he reiterated in October that this was going to be a main priority and focus of this administration. Of course, this administration has the focus of a chronic inebriate with cataracts. And there has been nothing in terms of progress with regard to the FBI probe. Every once in a while, they decide to toss up a couple of photos of most wanted to try and plead with the people in Libya. I think the subtext of this is what's going on behind the scenes diplomatically with Libya. We already know that there was a lot of funny business that went on with the Lockerbie bomber and his so-called compassionate release that enraged all of the families of the Lockerbie bombing victims. I think the American people need to start asking these questions.
You know what? And because mainstream media are compliant to whatever the White House wants, you'll hear about the real scandals here, but you'll hardly hear about them anywhere else. Meanwhile, there's something else. This was not supposed to leak out, but apparently the White House, Michelle, and the administration have created these so-called nudge squads, hoping to influence our behavior. For instance, some nudge squad things they could try to convince you to do: pay up your back taxes, maybe become more energy efficient, stay in school, save more money, exercise more, eat better. They're trying very lightly to suggest, go do these things for us. You don't like this one bit.
You know, I'm the mom in my family. I do the nudging, right? This is a NAG program. This is a nanny state program. I read about this initiative, and of course it's the brainchild of some control freak Rhodes Scholar who's been given a lot of room to play with behavioral sciences in the White House, apparently inspired by that regulatory control freak Cass Sunstein, who apparently coined this term of government nudging. This is all about coercion. And that's
but Michelle,
what this White House
speaking
and
of
Obama
regulation,
are
I
all
mean,
about.
isn't this better than regulations? Wouldn't you rather than make sort of strong suggestions rather than new legislation, new regulations being passed?
Well, to quote a former official of the Obama administration, what difference does it make?
Right.
What is the distinction between polite nudging with the force of government behind it and the theft of our tax dollars to subsidize it?
law's
Hey,
the law.
Michelle, one quick question for you. Where do you stand on the Republican infighting? A lot of people, like Dr. Sabato, say this is great, this is healthy because it's about issues. Where do you stand as Governor Christie and Senator Rand Paul have verbal exchanges all week?
Oh, come on. I'm a brawler, Brian. You know I'm all
You
for
loving
this
it.
kind of... I do. I think it strengthens the party to bring these out in the open, and it's much better than trying to clam up and hide and whitewash the fact that these conflicts do exist.
That's right. And the very latest update is Senator Paul has invited Governor Christie for a beer summit down in Washington.
And by the way,
Chris Christie says he's too busy running for governor, though.
Right, and he's really not in a tight race. But
right.
that was the speed bag, right, Michelle? Did you?
That's right.
I could
How do
tell.
you?
Thanks, Michelle.
See you back here next week.
Bye.
All right.
Take care.
All right. Up next, some of your most common legal questions answered for